What's up, YouTube? It's been a while since I've been back on here. I feel super bad that I have not been, consistently posting on my YouTube. I was on a good streak, consistently, filming podcasts, posting my workouts, and all that good stuff. But definitely going to get back to that for sure. The motivation and everything is there, and from here on out, it's not going to be about motivation. It's going to be back on the discipline train with being as consistent as I am on Instagram and everything else as I am with my YouTube. Because ultimately, this is what I want to do. I want to be consistent with my YouTube and bring what I'm doing to the table to you guys, to just give you guys an inside look at everything and, how I approach bodybuilding, how I'm doing with my coaching, anytime I'm in contest prep or anything, or getting ready for a show, or at a show, I want to be able to share that with YouTube and that get out to you guys. So, brought this video here to basically give you guys a little fill-in on what's been going on the past, couple months. Some of you guys, if you follow me on here, you may see me on Anson's Pod. I've been on there a few times since I posted on here. So still around, still on Instagram and stuff. Hopefully you guys are following me on there as well, so you're keeping up with me somewhat and know that I'm still doing my thing, still doing everything that I need to. Just have not been consistent with the YouTube, unfortunately. So we're back. We're back in action, baby. So what's been going on the past few months with me? So basically had a really successful off season, got up to 301 pounds. So that was the goal, really wanted to hit that 300 mark. Just that's a bodybuilding milestone. So I had to accomplish that. It was so close. We were hovering around the 292, 293. So there for a couple weeks, we pushed the food up. We did get there. We accomplished 301 pounds, and the look was pretty good. I'm sure I have some videos on here, some shorts and stuff like that. You'll be able to see that look. If not, I'm going to definitely make sure I share that on YouTube, because I'm pretty proud of that. The look at 301 pounds was definitely not mad about it at all. It wasn't the most lean, but it was my first time getting there, in bodybuilding condition and stuff like that. So I'm happy with that. Since then, we had a little mini cut. So we pulled down, we got down to about 270 was, the bottom weight there. The look was amazing there. I definitely put on a ton of size on my legs. That was our main focus this off season, was bringing up the legs to match the upper body, just to be, have that perfect X-frame, be more proportionate. And I think that we were able to do that. We definitely brought them up significantly, especially, the quad sweeps. Adductors as well came up quite a bit. So just the thickness of the leg from the front is a lot better. From the side, in most of my poses, the hamstring drop was great. So side leg thickness was good. We could always be better. We could always grow. But as far as proportionally where I was at, with my bodybuilding journey, the side was looking okay. It was just that front, I really needed to bring the sweeps and the adductors up to fill in any gaps there, things like that. So after that, we were sitting at 270, and the goal is to just kind of hold around there. And this was about 2 weeks ago. This was, we were about 13 weeks into the off season at this point. Unfortunately, I was about to start recording a pod with Anson and the boys, and noticed that my blood pressure felt really high that day. And so I was kind of feeling off all day, a little dizzy, stuff like that. Just weird feeling, I wouldn't even say dizzy, just kind of just off in my head because my blood pressure was high. And I noticed that my heart rate was a little elevated and stuff. And I was kind of getting anxious, just tied to my blood pressure being high, because mind you, I'm very, on top of all my health sups and making sure that my blood pressure is in a good spot. That's something I always keep up with. So knowing that it was, it felt this high and everything like that, I was sitting on the pod. We're literally in the chat room about to, start recording and stuff. And I looked down at my watch and my heart rate was 155. I'm just sitting, right here where I'm at right now, chilling. It shouldn't be that high. I hadn't done any exercise or anything vigorous before that. I hadn't even been walking around. I just, literally walked from the kitchen to where I filmed the podcast and sat down and noticed that my heart rate was super elevated. And then being aware of it made me keep checking it. So Anson was running through some poses and stuff. So it was kind of a time where we weren't all really talking. So I was just kind of sitting there, self-evaluating what the heck is going on actually internally. And I looked down at my watch again, looked down, it was 185, my heart rate was. So this made me really start panicking a little bit. I'm like, what is going on? again, it doesn't feel good when you're sitting still and your heart rate's going, 185 beats per minute. So I was like, what in the world? So I didn't even say bye. I just hung up on the podcast, took off, went to urgent care. Luckily there's one 2 minutes from my house. So I hauled ass there, called my wife first, told her what was going on. She basically was on the way home from the store. So she was like, just stay there. Like, we're going to be there. She hauls ass here. And she's like, calls me when she gets outside. She's like, I'm out here. Do you want me to come up there, or are you coming out? I was like, I'm coming out right now. So I haul butt out there, jump in the car, and she's like, wants to ask me some questions and stuff. She's sitting there, asked me a couple things, and I'm like, I don't really know what's going on, but I think we just need to go. Like, I didn't even really comprehend what exactly she said. I just knew that my heart rate was like way high, and I felt really weird. So we get there. They immediately get me back in the room, hook me up to everything. Blood pressure is way high. It was like 180 over 90 at this point. So it felt really uncomfortable, especially with a high pulse like that. They thought that I had a blood clot in my lungs or something. So they immediately throw me in the ambulance. They rush me up to the Memorial Hospital up here. It was about 30 minutes away from the urgent care. So we're hauling tail there. In the ambulance, they managed to get my blood pressure down. I don't know exactly what they gave me, but they gave me a couple different things, got it down, and got me a little bit more chilled and relaxed where I could, breathe and stuff. The guy on the ambulance was genuinely thinking that, I did have a blood clot in my lungs or something. So I was kind of like owning that. I'm like, you know what? I got a clot in my lungs. This sucks. This is terrible. So he was, calming me down and just telling me like, look, if you do, this is kind of, this would be a better scenario than if it was anything, bad going on with your heart or anything like that. He was like, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to immediately, operate on you and get this thing done like today. And you're going to be starting your recovery process. So I'm coming to terms with that in my head, this whole ambulance ride, basically. I'm like, all right, I guess this is what we're about to go through. Freaking out a little bit, but I'm like, I guess they're going to fix it and I'll be okay. I don't know what this means on the other side of this, but as long as I'm going to be okay. Like the whole time, I genuinely thought I could have potentially, been not here anymore. So I was freaked out, when all this was going on. Get to the emergency room. They run, so they did ultrasounds on my lungs, on my heart, on everything internally. Didn't see anything. There was nothing that they could see from the ultrasound. They said that they thought that my heart looked slightly enlarged, but they couldn't really tell from that image. They also ran a CT scan, just, a regular CT, and then they pulled me back out, and then they put all the dye in your system and stuff and ran it with the dye as well to check for clots. Everything was totally fine, head to toe. No clots. Blood pressure, again, was still high, though, this time. Now we're back in we're at the emergency room now. So they had me hooked up to stuff. And in there, I think just the stress of everything. And then, my blood pressure genuinely was high. And I was a little freaked out with everything going on. Just like white coat syndrome, I guess. But everything was fine there. They kept me in the emergency room for the entire night. They just wanted to keep me hooked up to all the, IVs and stuff, and they had all the little electrodes everywhere, all over my body, on my stomach, chest, neck, everywhere, back, and basically just to monitor everything, make sure that everything was okay and I was going to be okay. They switched my blood pressure meds around there, and then they referred me to a cardiologist, and they sent me on my way. So from that point, I had a cardiologist appointment a couple days later. Mind you, I don't really have any answers other than they just said that your heart looks enlarged. So now I'm really freaking out because I'm like, all right, I caused all this from bodybuilding. Like this is dumb. I haven't even been bodybuilding long. I've been smart with everything that I'm doing, other than obviously my blood pressure got a little high here and towards the end of, this cleanup phase. And guys, this is kind of a little PSA that I want to give to everyone. I'm one that has always checked my blood pressure. Every week at check-ins, I always check my blood pressure. And I will be so transparent with you. My blood pressure when I was up at that 301, that peak weight, was totally fine. I didn't have any issues with it at that point. So now we had hit this mini cut and I'd lost 30 pounds. So in my head, I was thinking, my blood pressure is golden now. I'm totally good. We've lost 30 pounds. My blood pressure was good when I was at 300. I'm 30 pounds lighter. I know it's in a great spot now. Wrong. I should have still been checking it. I got a little lackadaisical. I wasn't checking it. And to the point that, I thought that I could take it upon myself. And I even made a call because in the gym, in my training sessions, I was feeling like my blood pressure was going really low because of just the way that I was feeling like when I was pushing hard on a set and stuff. I was like, man, I feel like my blood pressure is low, because I've ran into that before as well. Using Nebivolol in the past, I had overdone it a little bit one time. I mean, it was before a workout, actually. I had took 10 milligrams of Nebivolol. Didn't need that much at that point, and it actually drove my blood pressure pretty low, where it was like it was hard to push the sets in the gym. I just felt really weak, felt really weird. I was kind of having a very similar feeling this time. So I cut my telmisartan dose in half 2 days prior to this whole situation arising where I ended up in the emergency room. So lesson learned there, guys. No matter how advanced you think you are, or how educated you think you are, or how self-aware of your body you think you are, don't hesitate to still use all the tools that we check these metrics with. Still check your blood sugar. That's one thing I'd never fuck around with, blood sugar, because you could feel, other than it being low, pretty much you're gonna feel normal, unless it's just sky high through the roof. You might feel off or something, but unless it's going low and you're going hypo, most of the time you're going to feel pretty normal. So that's one to really check for as well. But I got lazy on the checking the blood pressure, guys, and this is me being fully transparent. I'm a coach. I'm an athlete. I take pride in being on top of all my data. I take pride in being a responsible athlete, being a responsible coach, and keeping everyone's labs in check, keeping everyone's health in check. So that's why this is kind of like a big kick to the nuts here, because I got a little bit lazy with checking my blood pressure, just because I thought I'm Mr. Know-It-All. I don't need to check it. I'm so self-aware of my body and so in tune that I can feel if it's a little high or if it's too low and make a decision based on that. That was not wise, guys. And this is me being transparent and being real with you guys. A lot of people wouldn't own that, and they wouldn't even bring this up. But me, I'm not gonna sugarcoat shit. I'm real with you guys on what I do with my cycles. I'm real with you on everything. So this is me just being real. Hey, Peanut. My baby girl's here. You want to sit here? So that's just me being real with you guys. So basically, after all that transpired, we went to the cardiologist specialist. Get there. These guys are the best doctors that I've ever got to work with, firsthand. These guys are literally wanting to help me with everything. We're running all the extensive testing that needs to be done just to see exactly what is going on. They know that I'm a bodybuilder. They know that I'm an athlete. They know that I'm a coach. They know that I'm very in tune with everything. And that, honestly, I've never had a doctor be happy to work with you because and are aware of what's going on with yourself and are willing to learn and put in the work. Most of the time that usually is something that kind of steers them away. It seems like they'd almost rather you not be aware of what's going on with yourself. So these cardiologist specialists just wanting to know everything that I'm doing, wanting to know, the dosages that I'm using, wanting to know the blood pressure meds that I'm prophylactically running, all that good stuff. They put me on better blood pressure medication. They put me on, they actually still prescribed me telmisartan, but they put me on like a combo regimen now. So I'm using 40 milligrams of telmisartan, and then I'm using a calcium channel blocker. I forgot the specific name of it. And then I'm using carbivolol, which is the same as Nebivolol. So I'm using this combo stack, one to keep the heart rate down, one's a calcium channel blocker, obviously, and then telmisartan works on the ROS system. So we're attacking it from all angles. Blood pressure has been great. I had one of my best readings the other day. It was like 110 over 63 or 64, somewhere in there. So that's the goal right now, is just keeping blood pressure way down. Obviously, I have to go get an echocardiogram now. And then we are also going to get, didn't even tell this to the boys because I didn't even know this. They called me yesterday though. I'm getting an ultrasound on my kidneys done. I'm also doing a 24-hour urine sample. And what else are we doing? Oh, I've got to get like a cortisol test and a couple other regular lab tests that they wanted to check out. But those are like the big tests that we're doing, the ultrasound on the kidneys, and then the echocardiogram. And then also I'm probably going to push to get a calcium score as well. Coach wants me to do that. So I'm going to see if I can push to get them to check that out as well, just to see. And, working with these specialists, they are definitely on my side, guys. And they told me not to worry about anything, basically, which was really good news. I forgot to, caveat all that with that. They told me that whatever's been going on, I've had since I was a child. So something that I have is, just either hereditary or, I developed as a kid, because they were looking back through my charts. And even as a child, man, I had high blood pressure and nobody really checked it. Nobody looked into it. I think I was age 12 was the first time that they had a high blood pressure reading on my chart. And these guys were honestly frustrated. They were like, why did nobody think to look into this? You were a healthy kid and your blood pressure was high. Like, I wasn't overweight at that point. I was definitely a fat kid, but they were saying, like, even if you were, fat and chubby, you're a kid, your blood pressure shouldn't be that high because, you're a kid. It shouldn't be that high. And it's not like I was astronomically overweight. I was still an athlete in school. And, when I was younger, I still played sports, was very active, running all the time, swimming all the time, riding dirt bikes, riding bikes, skateboarding. So I was just a chubby kid. It wasn't like I was crazy overweight and obese. So they were genuinely wondering, like, why has nobody looked into this? So we're going to now get to do all this testing. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if, the enlargement was just something that developed from being an athlete my whole life, or if that was, from bodybuilding. But he said that it really didn't look, from the pictures, obviously, it didn't look like it was astronomically bigger than anyone else's heart. And he said he can't tell that much just from the picture. So they really just want to check the function out now through the echo and see, because you can't base a lot just on that picture. So it's interesting, man, to hear the specialists and what their thoughts are on it and all that stuff. And they told me, keep training hard. Don't worry about that stuff. Obviously, they told me to be a lot more mindful with my dosing on stuff. They said that, for the time being, it'd probably be wise to just pull things down to a physiological level. So that's what we're doing. We're just cruising on much lower dose of testosterone, a therapeutic dose of growth hormone as well. I'm just probably going to pull that down to 2 IUs. I was at 4 IUs, but probably even going to pull that down, especially, around that testing time and stuff, and just keep everything really low. Really been focused on health as well, just like health maxing. So doing tons of HIIT cardio right now, still training, doing a push-pull leg setup right now. So that's been going good. And basically what I did is I just scaled my volume back a little bit. So it's kind of like 2 working sets on everything. And we're going to see, how recovery withholds for the coming weeks as well with that. But I've been doing basically 2 working sets on everything. On my rest days, I've been doing double sessions of cardio. So I'll do, like today, I did 40 minutes this morning, and then I'll probably do anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes later this evening on the spin bike. And then in between all that, there's, quite a bit of walks with the dog, with the baby. So we go out and get some frequent walks and stuff like that throughout the day. And then on training days, it is cardio separate from the training. And most of the time, it's just been working out. I've been doing my cardio in the evening, my low intensity, steady state cardio. Been doing that in the evening, and then I'll do HIIT cardio following my workout, directly after the workout. So I'll do some pretty hard sprints on the assault bike, and that seems to be helping a lot. So I'm really just trying to focus on getting my VO2 max way up, so that, my cardiovascular health is at an all-time high, better than it's ever been. And I will say, just doing that for the past couple days, I've already noticed a huge translation over into my training. So now my training just feels night and day better as far as the ability to push it a little bit further in sets. And I think just really pushing myself cardiovascularly wise on the assault bike has allowed me to, like, tap into this, like, almost second wind that's sticking with you for days. It's like, you just had to get yourself breathing that hard again. It's just a matter of, though, tapping back into that, that super high heart rate where your body's able to still, tap into that 185, 190 beats per minute and then get back down. And that, I think, is something that bodybuilders are truly leaving off the table that we need to be doing, because then that way you can push those leg sets way further. One thing that I noticed that was kind of leading up to this, that was somewhat of, the main reason that I probably had a lot of anxiety tied to the high blood pressure as well. But I was noticing deep into my leg sets, I was so gassed that I could not catch my breath to the point I was like I thought I was having asthma attacks and stuff, or panic attacks, or literally just going to fall out because I could not breathe, catching my breath. So, and this was what was really freaky here is, it would be in the set, I'd be able to push it really far, really hard, on the leg press or a squat or a Smith squat or the hack or whatever I was running that day for a quad compound. And then when it came to the end of the set and it came, time to recover and catch that breath back, that's when I was like gasping for air, could not catch my breath. And, hindsight being 2020, I think what was going on is I think hematocrit and hemoglobin were probably creeping up just from not doing, that hard cardio as much. And then when I was tapping into those really hard leg sets, that was the hardest cardio that my body was experiencing at all. So pumping that, higher hematocrit and, just that thicker blood around, essentially, it was really hard to catch my breath. But literally a couple days of nattokinase and then a few days of just running some really hard HIIT cardio, I have noticed a significant difference in my training, especially in my leg training, guys. So we're on a cruise right now. We're running 200 and it'd be 210 milligrams a week of test right now. And then, like I said, the low dose of growth hormone. And what I'm doing now is something I've never done before really with my bodybuilding journey. I want to see how much I can truly get out of just my training, my balls off, and, perfect execution on everything that way and, high intensity, because now I feel like that I'm feeling a little better. My intensity has actually gone up quite a bit in the gym. My work capacity in the gym just seems a lot higher because I feel a lot fresher now. So I think it truly was just time for a break as well from everything. So what my goal now is basically to see what I can build and maintain and hold on to with just doing exactly what I explained a minute ago. The 210 milligrams of test and then the low dose of growth hormone, and then lots of cardio and very clean eating. And I want to see, truly what my physique can hold at, because we're holding at 261 right now. And this is the goal that me and my coach talked about. We want to hold between here and 270, probably going to stay closer to the 260 right now, just so that we're tighter, and really just try to recomp at this weight and see what the body does with the training being able to be so high intensity right now. Again, because I'm just feeling so much fresher. I don't feel any fatigue from any drugs, anything like that. Nothing's bogging me down now. So that also was a big, huge eye-opener to me for the future, guys, for, going forward. I don't think, I'm going to need to be pushing these crazy amounts to achieve what I want to achieve. Where in the past I've heard what other people are doing and I'm like, well, they're doing that, so that means I got to push it that hard. I got to try that. And I'm learning now that, it really truly is on your response to the stuff, to what you're using. So if you're responding well to a small amount of something, keep it there, guys. You don't have to, just because someone else is taking this much, you don't have to also take that much, or you don't have to push the boundaries just because you heard someone else's. Granted, if you want to win, that's kind of the things that you might be willing to try. But, I tried that route, and honestly, it backfired on me. Yeah, I got to get huge, but I think I could get an even better looking physique, an even bigger, healthier physique. Truly, I genuinely believe this, using a lot less stuff, I think is going to be able to allow me to bring my best. Because my sleep is allowed to be, is way better when I'm not using as much. My strength is way up when I'm not using as much stuff. My recovery seems to even be better when I'm not using as much stuff. My inflammation is way down. I look leaner. So I think truly, guys, I'm just going to, now focus on getting the most out of the least. And obviously we're not running any cycles anytime soon until we get this testing done and stuff. But my focus is truly getting the most out of the least now, and understanding that these compounds do work. And just because you may weigh 200 and something pounds, or however much you weigh, 270, 280, 300, does not mean that you need to have X amount of milligrams. If you're responding to X amount of milligrams and it's way less than what you may have thought because of some miraculous equation that someone told you works or whatever, then stick to what's working and just genuinely go off the response that your body's having, guys. And this will, I think, prolong everyone's career and help everyone just do this for a lot longer and look a lot better, in my opinion, in the long run. So now that is some staples that are, going to be in my approach from here on out. Basically, is the most out of the least always. HIIT cardio is always going to be in there no matter what phase we're in. I will be doing HIIT cardio. And then, low intensity steady state will always be in there no matter what. Rest days or not, Year round, 365 days a year, I will be doing cardio. And I think everyone should be doing it as well, because it's a low hanging fruit that we can all grab and benefit so much off of, guys. So if you're not doing, at least do the HIIT cardio. It's a minimum of 10 minutes or max 10 minutes after your training session. Obviously, you can do more than that, but you can get a lot out of just plugging in that extra 10 minutes at the end of your training session. Could get you an extra 10 years on your bodybuilding journey. I truly believe that. So 10 minutes for 10 years, guys. Let's make that the motto here. If you made it this far in the video, I want you to drop a 10 minutes for 10 years in the comments, guys. Much love to everyone. Thank you guys so much for, sticking around with me. I know I got a little inconsistent, like I said, the past couple months, YouTube. I just have not been posting, and I am genuinely sorry, guys, but I will be back in action, bringing everything that I got going on from here on out, everything with my health, everything with my bodybuilding journey, anything that I got going on with my clients and stuff like that. Because, guys, this is literally my life. This is my love, my passion, health, fitness, bodybuilding, all this stuff, all encompassed, is literally what I eat, sleep, and breathe for each and every day. And so I'm genuinely just grateful to be here, to be recording this video right now. I love each and every one of you guys. I'm so thankful for everyone, seriously. So much love. Had to get it together for a second. I almost started crying, guys. But yeah, much love to you guys, seriously. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, guys. You don't know how much it means to me to just even be able to do this, to, share what I'm doing on my journey. The fact that I've even been able to bodybuild, that I got to get on stage a couple times last year. All of these things, I'm just grateful for life in general. And, you don't understand how special and man, you don't realize how lucky we are to truly love something so much, man. Because I didn't even know, I didn't even know how much I loved it until I thought it was gone, man. I genuinely thought that I was never going to be able to train again, that I was not going to be able to go to the gym, that I was going to be basically just have to be a potato just chilling in the bed, man. Literally last Sunday, I was thinking that, or 2 Sundays ago now. So, guys, don't take this shit lightly, man. Our health is everything, and seriously, health is everything. Just make sure that you are on top of all that shit, because I've been, one to get my labs all the time. I'm a lab fanatic. I love getting my labs. I love knowing that everything's okay. And I have never seen anything that was a red flag on any of my labs, other than the most recent one. My lipids were, skewed a little bit. So guys, that's just me telling you, make sure that you're checking everything. Make sure that you're finding ways to go get these, these extensive tests done on your heart and stuff like that. Because, had I not caught whatever was going on, I might be, I could have been really hurt myself or something like that, or, not ever known that, hey, it was probably wise to pull back right now. I could have just been continuing to stress whatever was causing that acute stress right there. But now I know, hey, switch gears, do these things, get yourself super healthy. You're going to be totally fine. You're going to be able to continue to do this. And now I have some awesome doctors in my corner that believe in me, that want, the best for me, that want to see my health at 100%, and that are, putting together a plan so that it can be, and that I can still do everything that I want to do with my life and still be an awesome bodybuilder and still compete and do all these things, guys. So make sure that you're going and you're checking everything. You're doing all the things that you need to. And again, much love, guys. I genuinely appreciate everything. Apologize for the tears, but I had to share that because I want you guys to know the shit's real. It could be taken in an instant, and don't take this shit lightly, man, because if you genuinely love this, dude, you're going to take care of yourself. You're going to do it the right way so that you can keep doing it. Don't be an idiot and do it the wrong way and do it, try to fast track yourself there so fast that you fucking destroy yourself on the path. You got to be able to get to the pro stage and continue. You want to continue to be able to compete as a pro once you get there. You don't want to just land at the finish line. I finally made it, I'm here, but now you can't do anything with what you got there. So much love, guys. Let's have a great day.